Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard. What else? What else is there? Relish. That's what we're talking about today is
Pickles,
condiments.
pickles,
Well, relish is pickles.
sweet and dill, sliced and whole, like Grillos. We're talking about sliced Mount something or other. Mount Joy.
Mount Sinai.
No, they're Mount something pickles. They're really, really good.
Oh, Mount
Mustard,
Olive. Mount
Mount
Olive.
Olive. Yeah, it's got
Yeah, there we go.
yeah. Ketchup. I mean, you can do Heinz, the original. You can do all. Oh, sorry, we should say what the episode's about condiments.
I just said that, I thought. I don't know.
No, you didn't. I don't remember that.
Well,
It happened
you
days
don't
ago.
you don't remember a lot of things. But I think Heinz to me is the best. You're not getting better than that.
Yeah, I've tried like I will always try like natural stuff, but it
Mhm.
doesn't it's not the same. I'll tell you what was the best.
Yeah.
Your mother made some ketchup.
That was the best. I remember
That
that.
was the best, but you can't, and you see like Maggie Magnuson, what is it? Maddie
Like,
Madison.
oh yeah.
When he makes the ketchup and the onions and puts all the crap together and makes it on a sloshy burger, that looks amazing. But I mean, you got to throw that shit out in a day,
Oh,
right?
you're talking about the mayonnaise, relish, ketchup, and mustard combination, right?
And
The
onions.
burger sauce. Yeah, and
The
onion.
burger sauce, and it's all together because that's what I would put on a
'Cause that's
burger every
yeah,
time.
exactly. That's Big Mac
Every
sauce.
time, you know.
It
That
tastes
is,
so
he doesn't
good
add
too.
ketchup, does he? Does he?
Yeah, right? Does he
It's
not?
uh, it's a
No, no
quarter
ketchup, you're right.
mayonnaise, quarter mayonnaise, quarter ketchup, half mustard.
Half
Right?
mustard. Yep.
More mustard than anything else, and it's got to be for me. It's got to be French's. I know people like all the other spicy stuff, but that's just not my gig.
What
You
about
know,
stone ground? What about stone ground?
stone ground's good if you're eating a half smoke and you're going to make it like Chicago style, and you're just going to do relish and chopped up tomatoes, got to be chopped up or whole. I mean, I've done the big chunk pieces on there, and that's good. If you take cherry tomatoes, you cut them in half, put them across the top, you put the stuff on the side. I think when I think about condiments and people talk about putting bacon on burgers and all that, I think it overpowers it. And I'm not a, I love bacon, but I don't love it with other meats because it overpowers it. It's like, hey, let's have some scallop wrap bacon wrap scallops, and it's like it just tastes like a bacon bite
You're
to me.
getting to the concept too of the bacon wrapped steak phenomenon of 2012 through about 2015, where
Yeah,
everybody was wrapping a filet mignon with a fucking steak or not with they were wrapping a steak with no, they were wrapping a steak with bacon. That's what
yeah,
it was. Like
they've been doing
applewood
that.
bacon.
Yeah,
It was gross.
well, pig in a blanket.
It's still foul.
They used to do they would take a slice of bacon and wrap it all the way around a hot dog and then cook it on a grill.
That's different. That's a LA dog. And that after about 19 and a half beers, I think is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about the LA
Well,
hot dog.
if you take one of those, the croissants that you get from Pillsbury Doughboy,
Ooh.
where you break them and you open them up, if you roll a hot dog, if you roll the bacon in the hot dog and then you wrap that around it and then bake that, my gosh, that will make you fall in love with hot dogs all over again, even if you're a vegan like me.
I will say
You know,
croissant dog is the best European invention that has ever existed. I
yeah,
remember sometimes they even
it's
cut.
not European. I made it. I made it in my kitchen. Okay.
Well, technically, now your kitchen is European. I think that's how that works. But
Yeah, maybe
what
that's
were
it.
they doing? They were doing a half a baguette and they were shoving a giant hot dog in that,
Yeah,
and
right down the
that
middle.
was great too. But my
Yeah.
qualms that lie in the French bread kind of category is if it rips the roof of my mouth apart, I'm not liking it. I don't
No,
care. I don't like it. I like my mouth
I don't
intact,
like
and it's
that. I
upsetting.
would say that when you get like when you go to like what is it Chipotle, or you go to Kava in particular, they put all that stuff on and I'm like, oh, give me the lamb, give me the black beans, give me the rice, give me the cat food, give me the hummus, give me this. And then when they throw the chips on top, I've actually bit into that and the chips stuck into the roof of my mouth.
Or
I
when it
gotta
goes
tell you.
sideways in between the teeth.
Yep. Yeah.
That is the worst
Yeah.
possible
And you're
thing.
just like, that just, I mean, it just killed it for me because then it's like, you don't want to carefully eat food. You know, it's like when you bite into when you eat a hamburger and all of a sudden you find a rock in it and you're like, and it doesn't break your teeth. You're like, you don't, you don't, it doesn't taste the same after that.
That's like the hot dogs when I find like a rock in a hot dog at a game or something like that.
Yeah, and it
And
might
it's
not be a
just
rock. It's probably a piece of gristle. They didn't grind up enough of the,
the rats in the
the
bottom
cow's
of the
ass
thing,
or
or
the
yeah.
rat's femur or whatever it is when they did that. So it comes back to that, and it kind of messes with you in that respect. But when you think about condiments, I mean, most people, well, I won't say most people, I'll say this person, for me, condiments is something that it really depends. If you're doing an Italian sub, you got to have oil, sub oil, or you don't put mayonnaise and sub oil on the same thing. And the sub oil, you can just put olive oil and you can put oregano on top or Italian seasoning, and you can do that. That's cool.
Is sub
Or
oil
you,
just olive oil with oregano in it?
well,
Is
it's
that what
they
it
have
is?
it. Well, it's a kind of an Italian seasoning, and it really depends. It's on because that oregano mix is like when I was at a restaurant when we used to make that Italian saucy mix, and we used to make it for launchers when I worked at Manny Moon's Pizza Rants many moons ago at
Many
Moon
moons
Pizza
ago,
Rant.
many moons.
Yeah, but there it was. They put garlic salt in, and they put all sorts of things, and it was a really wonderful spice. So what you want to do is you want to make a spice that's really cool, and then you have the oil itself is the conduit to spread the sauce across all of it, and it doesn't have to be. It's not to where you want to like, oh God, this sub tastes like olive. It tastes like oregano. It's like, no, you want it to be just a smack, a sprinkling, a smickle of that flavor, just a very
A
small
schmeckle.
amount. A schmeckle. There you
A
go.
schmeckle.
And then when you take sub oil and you heat something inside of an oven, a high degree temperature oven, the oil heats hotter than the meat and the other things, so it kind of makes it encased in heat, and also it melts the cheese, and it's just like, and of course, you got to put hot peppers on it. You got to put, and you got to, and everybody's, some people are all fans of lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, you
Well,
know?
I have a question for you. This new phenomena of
Yeah.
in condiment science recently is Mike's hot honey. What do you think of that?
Oh, I like that.
You do like
I've
that?
been, I bought a bottle of that and I've been using it. It's great for chicken. I don't know if I've used it on anything else but
I put it
chicken.
on an Italian sandwich recently. Not bad. Not bad, I have to
Really?
say. And I used
Really?
it on pizza as well. And it was
Yeah,
not
but
bad either.
I
And
think somebody was consuming a lot of alcohol that night.
no, I was sober that day, surprisingly. But I remember
Was
you
it the
were
day after?
well, you're a pizza artisan, right? Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, I make
you're
my own. I make the
an
home pizzas.
erudite of the pizzas. So would you put
I've
that
done the
on
bread
a
from scratch. I've done the I find that the bread I make from scratch is about the same as what I buy at Wegmans. You know, you buy the frozen lump of bread and you bring it home and you roll it out, and it's like, okay, so I just saved making this stuff in a bowl, which you can make it in a bowl pretty quick if you have the yeast and you have all the items, but it's one less thing. Same thing with the pizza sauce. You can make the pizza sauce yourself if you want to make your own put your spice in it to your particular spice flavor. Because some people like more oregano. They want it to pop. Some people like more garlic salt. They want to pop out. They want that. You know.
You know what I like to think about though is when the world is going crazy over the pandemic, and what crazy world looks like is just sourdough starters. Everybody has a sourdough starter when they're really
Oh
mentally
yeah, our
unwell.
niece did that. She
Isn't
had the sourdough starter, and she's like, "This is bread number 741 that I made my bread machine." I'm like, "Really?"
she was not the only one. I think if I could go back, I would have invested in active yeast companies at that time. That would have been a
Yes.
freaking great bet.
Well, the,
Oh
the
my
the
gosh.
reciprocal to that is to sell them short at the end of the pandemic. Like, look at Peloton. I mean,
That was a travesty.
Peloton was like, we're going through the rook. Everybody, they're going to be riding their bikes forever the whole time at home. They're going to do this forever and ever and ever. And all the senior management you would have thought you would have thought that they would have said, when people go back to work, they're probably not going to buy as many of these. We better figure out another way to monetize it. And so far, after they fired he moved on. I don't know what that means. He got a package and left. and the stock went from 3 gazillion to 6, and it's been doing how can I do a downward arrow
That
ever
that's down.
because
That's down to
it was
me.
a hockey stick. It was going crazy, and everybody was just like Peloton, Peloton. And I mean, I knew people that rode them, and
Everybody rode them.
they were addictive. I mean, these people that rode them in the groups were and they all had their own handles. I'm Spanky, you're so and so, and they all had
Well, it's
handles,
a
which
$5,000 stationary bike with an iPad taped to the front of it. That's pretty
right,
much what it is.
right. That's
Which
what
is pretty much the best invention that I ever would have thought of. I'm not gonna
no,
lie.
no, no. The Ford, the Range Rover that is Murphy Brown said it's a Ford Explorer with $50,000 taped to the hood.
Oh, that's great.
I love that. I heard that line. I forgot it was of all things. I think the Murphy Brown show. Like this is like 30 years ago, but it was so comical to hear it. She's in her car, and he pulls up and he's saying stuff about her being pretentious, and she looks at him and she goes, "Well, I don't drive a Ford Explorer with $50,000 taped to the hood." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "Your Range Rover." And it was just the delivery was impeccable. It was
That's
great.
kind of exactly what it is, too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Precisely what it is.
Except for it costs more to service, and it breaks down more because the Ford Explorer was a tank, and
Oh,
we
no,
had
for
one,
sure.
and it was just you couldn't break it. And it wasn't expensive and all sorts of things. Now it's smaller and all the police drive them, and it's scary.
Well, I
So,
have a very important question. Are we pro pesto or are we anti pesto?
uh, is
Pun
pesto
intended.
pasta?
Pun
I would say,
intended.
I would say, I would say it depends. I mean, I like pesto in
On a
pasta.
sandwich specifically.
Oh, uh, chicken. Uh, I've had one on a French roll, like a baguette, the mini baguettes with sliced chicken real thin, mozzarella cheese on top, which seems kind of redundant with pesto. Pesto on both sides,
Well,
salt and
pesto's
pepper,
Parmesan, right?
salt and pepper,
Or
and then I have
pecorino.
no idea what is
It's either
pesto.
pecorino or Parmesan with
Uh,
pine nuts, basil,
oh
and
yeah, yeah,
olive oil. I think
yeah.
it's either pecorino or Parmesan. I can't remember.
Uh,
But
well,
the reason why I ask is because I got a big jar of it, and I just recall on a time in my life when I put mayonnaise and pesto on a sandwich, and it was foul. I
yeah,
remember
that
that.
sounds.
That was
It's a
terrible.
sauce of crushed basil, uh, pine nuts, garlic, parmesan
Oh,
cheese,
it is
olive
Parmesan.
oil,
Okay.
typically served with pasta. Does
I
not.
do like a good chicken pesto pasta.
Yeah, me too.
I do
I
like a
love
good.
that. I think that for me, when I think about the pasta dishes you make, I love the just standard spaghetti angel hair. That's something that I just but when I think about the different things that you would put in a like if you make an angel hair pasta, I love olives, Kalamata olives, and cheese. What kind of chunk cheese do you throw in there?
What
You
are we
throw
talking
parm.
about? Is this
Well, these
pesto?
would be additions to a pasta dish that instead of pesto.
Oh, it's not pesto based, or it is pesto based?
It wouldn't be pesto based, but pesto based to me is like I would add pine nuts in with pesto.
Well, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, for the texture purpose, for
Yeah.
sure.
I do that with spinach.
I remember. Do you remember when I made you a chicken pesto pasta, and you were like, where's the red sauce? Where's the red sauce? Where's the red
yeah.
sauce?" I'm like, just wait a minute, just wait a minute, just wait a
Yeah.
minute, and then you waited a minute, and it was excellent. I remember that
Yeah,
was
but you
pretty good.
guys use like 2 gallons of pesto, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
yeah, you got to use a lot of pesto because
Yeah,
I think it's
it's not
something's
just
wrong with
like
the melting point of pesto, that
yeah.
it's just like it doesn't get non-viscous for a while.
Yeah, it's got to be and you want it to be liquid so it covers everything a little bit.
Exactly.
Not
It takes
too
a
thick,
lot.
just a little bit. So it takes a lot of heat to get it to there to make it spread across. My gosh, we have a cooking show now. I didn't even realize it.
Well, it also depends how
You
much
know.
olive oil is in the pesto base, because that kind of is determines the spreadability of it all.
Well, let us go back to condiments and let's talk about ramen.
Ramen, okay.
The little crappy 6 for $1 or the little buckets that you buy, and they have their little packages of beef flavored, chicken flavored, and then they have fire sauce.
Yeah.
And then they have something that's freeze dried that says it's vegetables, and it's like a little orange stuff and a little yellow stuff, and it was corn at one point, it was carrots at one point. I get that bowl and I cut up carrots, I cut up spring onions, I cut up whatever the hell I have in the refrigerator. Little green peppers
Kind
or
of a
red
kitchen
peppers.
sink of all foods per se.
Yeah, well, what it is I look for all the vegetables that I'm going to throw in the crapper or throw out the door to let the not the crapper. I throw out the door to all of the. I have deer and a lot of animals that eat stuff like that, so I throw it out. I open up my front door and I throw it out the front door.
I've seen you do that many times.
Yeah, and I don't like, be like, what are you doing? You take it to the compost. And I'm like, it ain't, whether I take it to the compost or I throw it out the front door, the same guy's going to eat it. Okay. And they're going to eat it before it rots. So, no, you can walk it over there if you want, but no. Certain things they don't like. What was the thing I found? They don't like purple cabbage.
They don't like purple cabbage.
I threw purple
That's
cabbage
surprising.
out there. It just rotted. It just rotted. I threw it in the side yard, and it was underneath the bird feeder, and it was there until it turned brown and then oozed into the ground over like a month.
That's strange.
Yeah.
I think a rabbit would have done
You
that.
would have thought. You would have thought, but I guess they were like, no, this is crap.
Or Mr. Groundhog.
Carrots take a long time too. Things do not
Carrots
naturally
take a long
go.
time.
Yeah, you would think. Maybe it's because they're old and nasty when we pull them out and throw them into the yard. But I didn't get a lot of stuff from carrots. Cucumbers gone in a second. Tomatoes, eat them right away.
Cucumber is something I would have thought would take longer.
I would have too.
I would have done the inverse.
Potatoes, they don't touch potatoes. Most of the time, potatoes are
too hard,
and sweet potatoes never.
Yeah, they're too hard. I don't think.
So you might as well, if you cook them and throw them out there, they get eaten faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, what do you do in there? What's the point? Come on, if you're cooking them to eat them, then
what are we doing?
Hey, we got 6
the,
potatoes. There's 2 of us. Let's cook them all.
But what are you putting in your ramen besides an egg and maybe
I put an egg.
Sauce?
I chop up my red pepper if I have it, green pepper. I chop up. I have that mother something or other chili spice.
Oh, the Chinese one, right?
Yeah, this ground up chilies. Oh my gosh!
I really like
and
that.
It's not too hot like jalapenos are.
Mm-hmm.
I had a spicy chicken sandwich at my mother the deli or the mother's Jewish deli or whatever it's called.
Oh, call your mother. That's what it's called.
Call your mother. And call your mother. Anyway, it was the chicken. No, what was it? No, pastrami. And it was purple cabbage and then a layer of green jalapenos across the top.
Pickled or non?
I took a
non-pickled
bite.
or was it pickled?
Non-pickled.
Ooh, oh my!
Lightning struck in my mouth. I must say, on the first bite, I was and Jeff, who was with me eating, was like, "Whoa, this is spicy. I like it." And I'm like, "Oh God, I know I'm gonna hate it then," because he just takes fire and puts it in his mouth and goes, "Well, they could have made it a little hotter, but this is pretty hot." I'm like, "You're eating fire, dude. Come on, what?" Well, it's not blue fire. It's yellow fire, so it's really not that bad.
You ever do furikake?
What?
Furikake in ramen, the Japanese condiment. It's like a mixture of
peanuts.
Japanese spices.
I always do peanuts. Spanish peanuts.
That's not what I'm talking about. This is
okay. I just changed it because
seaweed.
I forgot.
This is seaweed mixed with
I love seaweed.
Black and white sesame seeds mixed
I've
with.
seen the black.
It might
and
be a
white
little
stuff.
bit of MSG too, and then that's the mixture.
I would put it in there if I had it, but I wouldn't go out and buy it because it doesn't really change the taste that much for me.
It doesn't really. It's a texture thing. It's more of a texture thing. I would think.
Yeah, it's more of a texture thing. And for me, I want a bunch of noodles. I want enough broth so when I taste it, it's spicy, and I got peanuts and carrots and I mean I put Brussels sprouts in there, broccoli in there, whatever, the little noodles themselves. What's the other one? Is it watercress? That's really, really good.
Water chestnuts is what you're thinking, right?
No, I was thinking water chestnuts would be better in ramen. The watercress is like that little bit of grass that's the green stuff. It's real short.
Spring onion?
No, it's not oniony. It's more
green onion.
No.
Yellow onion.
Watercress.
Watercress onion.
No, it's called watercress.
Oh,
Okay.
watercress.
My
You
gosh,
know, so when I
we're
came
doing a
home
lot of
though,
definitions today.
I realized that you didn't. You guys aren't big hot sauce people. You guys aren't big hot sauce people like me.
This watercress. You see it?
Kind of a little bit. I
It's
do.
like it's microgreens.
A
It's
microgreen.
really,
Okay.
yeah, it's real tiny stuff. It tastes, I like that. That's
Mhm.
also unfortunately very, very, very easily gets E. coli because it spoils really rapidly.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's one of the, that's a recall thing all the time. That, and for some reason, what is it? Ramen lettuce. What is it? What's the what's the lettuce?
Oh, bean sprouts. Is that what you were
Bean
thinking?
sprouts. That's what I'm thinking of. That's the other one. That's a bad one. And
Microgreens tend to get E. coli very.
romaine's another one that
Are you talking
does.
about listeria? Are you talking about
Yeah,
listeria
that happens.
or
Yeah,
E. coli?
listeria.
Okay, gotcha.
Same thing. You
Is it
know,
the same thing?
no, but I've said that, and I'm living with. I'm willing to go to bat for
We need
that
to hire a fact checker.
made
Gosh,
up
he would just
story.
have it. He'd be doing a lot of work on this show.
Yeah.
He'd be
No,
doing it.
no, no, no. You're wrong. No, no,
There have been
no. You're
10 like
wrong.
episodes where I'm just like, ah, that one guy, this, that,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
completely full of poop. It's brimming out his ears at this point.
Oh
He's
yes,
making up stuff.
all the time,
He
all
could
the
run.
time.
He could run for president.
But you're not a big hot sauce guy though, are you?
No, no, I've never been. I think that it's once again, hot sauce to me is like bacon. It overpowers it. I
Really?
mean, yeah, I don't. I mean, I like a little bit of spark
What about
to
on
everything.
eggs? You just eat eggs without a hot sauce?
Make me boot.
What about
Really?
hash browns?
I
No,
like
no, no freaking hot sauce on
ketchup,
hash.
ketchup. I
I do
got to be the
ketchup
only
and hot
one
sauce.
before hot honey. I mean, I was brought up eating at my condiment, our condiment, because the limited capital that we had growing up
Limited
when we
capital.
had dinner
Oh.
was ketchup. I mean, everything, and we always had a big bottle of ketchup, and then we splurged, and we would have a bottle of barbecue sauce, and people would reach for the barbecue sauce, and that would go first, and then the ketchup was last. But no matter what it was, broccoli, hey, ketchup makes it better. I mean, if you don't have butter, you got to put something on it. And salt and pepper is so bland at that stage in life. It's like, it wasn't enough for me. As I get older, salt and pepper, the nuance of it is really added to the flavors.
The nuance of salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I saw a couple things and then we went to a number of cooking classes with the wife,
how
and
many
it's
did
like
you do, by the way? I thought it was only like three. Three?
we
Or was it
took
like seven?
like a 8-week course, and we cooked
Oh,
like
I didn't
6
realize it was
meals
that
or
long.
something like that. Yeah, it was like the clown thing when we became clowns. Clowns was 16 weeks.
That seemed like a
16
multiple
weeks
year
is
thing.
what's that? 4 months. It was 4 months. It was like the whole summer into the fall, to get your clown certificate, which, hey,
Did you have
everybody
to
needs
take?
one of
Was it
those.
like college and the aspect you have to take
Clown
like
college is what we called it.
trickery or balancing and
We had study. We had to present. We had to go on stage and actually do an act, and we did an act, and the act was filmed. And I think I still
you
have
still
it.
have it?
Yeah.
What was your act?
Well, I was Swicklepuss.
But what
You
is
know?
that? That's a name. That's not an act.
That with that, do you really need an act? Come on.
Did
Hey,
you like blow up?
what are you doing? Swicklepuss. For the next 15 years, I would have librarians. Everybody would go, Swicklepuss. I'd be in a board meeting. Swigglepuss. Immediately, because people want to control you, and they can control you by your lowest common thing that you've ever done.
What was your act?
Hey, remember when you crapped your pants sack? Remember that? And you're
You're-
like, we're talking about a merger here, and you're talking about when I was 7, okay?
I want to hear that.
I remember
What was your act? Stop derailing me. Stop derailing me.
At that time, I think at that point, I had stickers. IYQ. IYQ.
Oh, you would just
stickers.
hand them out? It wasn't
And I would hand those out. I juggled.
Oh, you there we go.
juggle.
Okay, all right.
I had
That's what I
horns.
meant. Well, why did you say handed out stickers before the actual act of juggling? Because juggling is the act. You're like, well, I handed out
because the thing
stickers.
is that it wasn't really a stage act. It was we would go to charitable events, and we would meet people small. You would go to
Okay.
like Fairfax County Day or whatever the fair. We went there, and they would hire, or they'd give a donation to our alley. And at the end of the year, our alley would give the money away, and we usually give it to SIDS, sudden, which is really, really fun, and a really fun thing, sudden infant death syndrome. We should make fun of this. No, that's bad. Anyway, but I went to one of those events, and it's really hard to make them laugh. But that's another story altogether. And then we would do the coolest thing we did was we would go to the North Pole. We would go to US Air. We go down to DCA. What the hell is it now?
Oh, Andrews Air Force?
No, it was National Airport then. Now it's called
Ronnie
Reagan. So we would go there. We would take all the little crippled children, which we can't call them that, can we? What do we call them?
Kids with disabilities.
Kids with this. Well, the thing is they were coming from Children's Hospital. So these kids probably now are all dead, or a good portion. It was probably like 50 kids, and then various stages of problems.
Okay.
I mean, you had people in wheelchairs with bags and all this kind of stuff like that.
Terminally ill children.
Yeah, and third, some of them didn't have hair, and some of them did have hair, and some of them.
I get the image. I got the image.
And I would make fun of them, but hey, but they would come there, and they were going on the plane to the North Pole, and we would load them up onto the plane. The clowns would get on. We go up and down the aisles. We would amuse the children. So it was always, and that's what I was getting at, is it's a very close-up thing. I'm not amusing 50 kids. I'm going over to a group of 6, and I reach over and I'll pull a coin out of your ear.
Like a magician, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you have well, the thing is if you're dressed in, imagine me in full clown face with a hat that's 2 feet tall, with a horn, and I got big shoes, and I got clown, I got a big outfit, and I'm just myself, and my whole face is all painted up, and I got long red hair, shoulder length, and I got white gloves, and I reach over and I pull something out, or I pull out a flower, and I go, and it becomes a bouquet of flowers. Oh, the flower needs water. I'm gonna water it. I think I'm gonna cry on it. And pull it out, and it's a bouquet. And and Valerie was the what was she? She was the balloon expert. She would do balloon animals. So she would do balloon animals for all the kids, and we would do that. And then they'd shut the doors, they'd turn the engines on, and they'd make it rev it up. And then we go to another gate, and we'd unload the kids on the gate. And then they'd all go and see Santa Claus. And then here was the weird thing. After they saw Santa Claus, you still there?
Yeah. I just didn't charge my computer. I didn't realize the charger was out.
After we saw Santa Claus, what they would do was, instead of putting them back on the plane and taking them back home, they would just wheel them out. So, but we would see the parents, and the kids smiled and laughed. And that, to this day, is one of the things that, when you see people in situations, especially kids, I mean, parents, hey, you deserved it, but
no, you see children like that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but the way that you can change a kid's look in a face, and if the parents are there, they'll just cry. I mean, it's just like, little Johnny hasn't smiled in 2 weeks, and you're making Johnny laugh, And
did you have a voice, or did you mime all of it?
No. Me. I just spoke. And you know how loud I am. I'm loud as shit. And I could command people. I would just do this stuff. And I just loved it, because I would just go through the troop and just go from one kid to the next kid, and I would put a sticker on his forehead. I would hold it up like this. What? And he would look at it. Do you read that? And he would go, I like you. I like you too. And I give him a hug, and it'd be like, sort of the tearjerker shit, and that, and then the parents would love it. I put a sticker on them. Could you read it? And, and they'd be like, I'm gonna shoot this clown. And then, but there was also the weird stuff. Like, I remember at the Fairfax County Fair, there was this mother that had a kid that was maybe 20 meters away, and he locks eyes on me. Immediately, his eyes bug out of his head. starts to cry. Mother is saying, let's go see the clown. She's bringing him towards me. I am the most scary thing he's ever seen in his life, and it's obvious to me. I start leaving. She follows me around the fair with the kids, screaming his and trying to get away. Oh, no, don't worry, Johnny. It's okay. And I'm just like,
That's
you
bizarre.
can't. Well, you can't yell at people. You can't.
No, you
You're a
can't.
clown.
You,
You're a clown.
yeah.
You know.
How long
You're
did
allowed,
you do this for?
You're allowed to be drunk, but you can't be.
How long did you do this for?
Weird bunch. We probably did it for about a year and a half, and then the thing kind of imploded because there was a lot of weird. I mean, I gotta say, it's a weird group, or it was. You know,
Shocker. Big shocker.
Shocker.
There. Who would have
yeah, but
thought?
they were all like there were people in their Valerie and I were in our 30s, and everybody there was in their mid to late 50s, 60s, and 70s. And
That's
some were
surprising.
single, and they were doing it to hook up. And so it was very very odd. And some of them were married, and they were doing it to hook up. And we were totally oblivious to that. We didn't realize that this was the swinging clown club. We thought that we were doing this thing because it was kind of cool because you would do it. And they would post all the jobs every week, and you would see a job and you say, oh, we need 2 clowns for Saturday for this fair. We need 4 clowns for this. And it was always like some public event. You would go there, you would hang out for 2 hours. We marched in the parade. Where there's what the hell is it? The Cherry Blossom Festival, the parade. We marched as a alley in that parade. I marched in that parade. And you go down and you know, that was kind of interesting. But I mean, you do this all the time. I mean, we rode in on the metro and talked to kids on the metro, and people are looking at us like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But getting ready for that, how did we get to this when we were talking about condiments?
Does it still exist? Does the group still exist?
I don't know. It's Clown Alley. I'd have to look it up. I hadn't looked into it in a long time.
We'll bring that into the next episode. We'll do a little update and see if what is it called? Let me write this down.
Well, a clown group is called an alley, and that's where everybody joins.
So
there were
Fairfax,
12
Virginia.
alleys in the Northern Virginia area, Northern Virginia, Southern Maryland, DC area.
Yeah.
And we were in an alley that was over in Vienna. And we met at a church there, and it was
at a church. That's pretty funny.
That was funny. And that's where we got taught. And the lady that taught us was a retired clown, but she was like a serious curmudgeon. So when you would try to joke, it was so funny. That's not funny. No.
Everything about this was incredibly strange.
Oh God, it was just so weird, over the top. But it was kind of neat because we met people that were really nice people that I liked. There was somebody, one woman's wife was like, she was married to the guy that owned the JK Moving, which is a big moving company.
I've seen those trucks everywhere.
And she's like, she was just like this really nice, sweet woman that was doing this as something that, hey, this is kind of cool. I got time being a clown. And what you're doing is you learn how to be a clown. You buy all the stuff. They had conventions, all sorts of weird stuff like that. But then you actually feel like one of the things that people talk about charity is like, we're somewhat philanthropic, is that instead of writing a check, you actually do something, And so this is one of those things that it makes your heart, it's a tearjerker, but also you're kind of hidden behind a clown image. So unlike when we worked at Some, where you're there serving the food directly to the people, and they will tell you what their story is, you are much deeper emotionally into that than you are when you're a clown, because the clown, I'm here to make you laugh. I'm not here to we don't.
It's serious.
We don't want to focus on all the horrors in your life, because we know let's talk about them more. That'll make them better, won't it? Yeah. Let's talk about how bad it is. You got cancer and you're 7. Yeah, that's horrible. Well,
escapism.
No.
Escapism.
Right. Exactly. And that's what we offered. And that is what I really, really thought. It's like, wow. And that's what she does, child help. That's what she did, child help for Christmas. Remember
wonderful
that? I
thing.
mean, you used to help with the
I do
packages.
remember that. I do
Remember
remember
that? And
that.
it's like,
Wow.
we would sit there and people would say, well, we're not going to get them all those gifts because they asked for 4 gifts. And she'd be like,
Yeah,
your
some people
mother was,
just don't understand. But on that note, I think we're gonna wrap up here.
oh,
We're
wow.
gonna yeah, we buzzed through that one.
So
That
what
was a
kind of condiments are your favorite?
all
If you
right.
could only have one condiment, what would it be?
Mayonnaise, easily.
Oh, disgusting. French's
Mayonnaise.
mustard. Absolutely.
French's mustard for you.
Yes, I would mainline that shit. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. As always, Q&A section below. Check out our website. We have a mailing list. Each time an episode comes out, you'll be notified via email. If there's anything you want to tell us too, I think there's also a messaging service on the said website. We will talk to you guys next week. How does that sound?
Hold on. I got to check
Oh,
one thing
he's checking
to
something.
see because we're using. I'm a fact checker. Favorite condiment is hot sauce.
Who's this?
Joe Rogan's favorite condiment is hot sauce.
I
and
could have
that's
told
what
you that.
But
I
that's
coulda
what he
guessed
sells.
that.
It's his favorite because he sells it. I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah.
it could be. He seems like someone that would like hot sauce, doesn't
That's
he?
true. Well,
Yeah.
we'll talk to you guys next week.
Party on.